Call to order the Town of North Branford Water Pollution Control Authority regular Town Council meeting, North Branford, Connecticut, Tuesday, October 4th, 2022 at 7 p.m. We'll start with a salute to the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Michelle, would you provide roll call, please?
Mayor McMillan.
Present.
Deputy Mayor Zampano.
Here.
Counselor Abelson. Counselor Angeloni.
Here.
Counselor Diamond.
Here.
Counselor Goad.
Here.
Counselor Mace. Here. Counselor Palladino.
Here.
And Counselor Palicia.
Here.
Okay, thank you. First and foremost, thanks for everyone for joining us tonight. Appreciate it. Hope there's no fires out there. Okay, well, accept a motion for the minutes for the previous meeting, September 20th, 2022, special WPCA and regular town council special meeting.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Councilor Angeloni, seconded by Deputy Mayor Zampano. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? All right, passes, thank you. All right, on to the Water Pollution Control Authority agenda. Item 3, correspondence, citizen statements. Are there any? Seeing none, we'll move on to item 4, unfinished business. There's none. Item 5, new business. None. And item 6, citizen statements and petitions yet again. Do we have any? Seeing none, we will move on to the regular town council meeting. We're going to item 7, reports, committees, boards, commissions. A, Economic Development Commission, Roger Solway monthly report. Do we have a report for that, Rose?
Well,
Oh, you-
I'm not the
sure you're
liaison
You're right,
anymore.
not the- Mike was the liaison, but.
Yeah,
Mike
sorry about
was
that.
the
So we don't really have a,
liaison.
we have to reappoint a liaison for that.
Right. I
Okay,
mean,
I'm sorry, Rose, I didn't mean to put you in the spot.
It's okay. You want me to go back? I don't care. If Nick, our new member, wants it, he can have it too. I mean, there's just a whole slew of us, but on page 12 in our
Nick has just
packet-
been, he's the new liaison for you too. Let's give him congratulations.
Yeah.
Here we are. Thank you, Nick. Way to step up.
Roger gives us
Thank you.
a nice monthly report, which is in our packet. So the big thing is the Little Red Schoolhouse, the restoration. There was an event at Mill Pond this past Wednesday. Andy Bizzuto is the fundraising chair for that program. The Tutucket Historical Society had a nice event there. They are going to be planning another fundraising one. Andy is putting one together. It will probably be sometime in December.
Awesome.
But they they have applied for a grant, and it's a matching grant. So if they get the grant, which is $50,000, we would have to match $50,000. So they've started the fundraising efforts. They've already raised $10,000 at the event that they had this past week on there. And it's to restore the Little Red Schoolhouse, which is on Old Post Road. They indicated that it's the third oldest one-room schoolhouse in New Haven County, and it's probably somewhere in the top 10 to 15 in the country.
Oh, wow.
So it is on the historical registry, and there's a lot of interest. So far, Guilford Savings Bank, Mill Pond Tavern, DFG Electric, Palumbo Trucking, there's been a number of businesses in town that have donated money. There will be more information where, residents can donate money. They'll take any amount of donations towards it, to go towards it. And they're also hoping that with the money that they raise, that they have enough left over that they can do it for less than the estimated amount of restoring it, and have funds so that they can maintain all of the historic buildings that are in town, not just the Little Red Schoolhouse, but it would go towards other
Beer's
ones.
house and things of such.
On other ones. And the other big thing, and I don't know if the date has been firmed up so far, but it's the dedication of the solar farm on Forest Road. They're tentatively looking at October 13th I believe, but I don't know if that has been firmed up for sure.
All right. Thank you, Rose, for stepping in there. Appreciate that. And for those folks that haven't looked into this, we'll get more information out for the Little Red Schoolhouse. It's, as Rose has indicated, it's a treasure that we have here in town and something we certainly want to maintain amongst the other historical buildings that we have in town. So let's hope that we get lots of donations for that. Okay, on to item B, Parks and Recreation.
Okay, Park and Rec met last week, and I'll just briefly go over the directors' meeting at a glance. So she focused on the month of August, the previous month. So the summer program was very successful. They had 633 camps between the months of basically July and August, a little bit of June. And the month of August, they served 356 meals through the program up at the community center. Of course, the one special event, the big one, was the Potato and Corn Festival. They also did their summer story walk at North Farms Parks. Upcoming special events that they have, tomorrow they have Coffee with a Cop at the senior center, and they will have police officers there. Just people can drop in, have some coffee, talk. There's no set agenda. They also have the Trunk or Treat Express on October 15th. Their Operation Care Kit, which there is a little brochure in our packet at our desk. They are collecting items for the Connecticut Air National Guard service members that they will be putting donations together, collecting up until the end of October. They will have they have the Halloween Cinema, which is on October 29th at 7 p.m. It is going to be an interactive haunted drive-in movie at Totucket Park. And then they also are doing the Great Goblin Giveaway, which is parents can register their kindergartner through second grade child by October 21st at the northbranfordrecreation.com website. And you can register your child, and they will be receiving something special in the mail from them. And then they have the Thanksgiving luncheon and holiday luncheon coming up. And the pickleball courts at Stanley T. Williams is in the final stages. They are painted. They are in the process of putting the fence back up around the courts. And they will be open this season. So it'll be either later this month, early November, but they will be open a little bit before winter sets in. So that's it.
All right, thank you. Yes, sir.
Yeah, what time is that Coffee with a Cup tomorrow?
Let me see once. I believe it was 10 o'clock, but let me see once if I can look on my thing.
10 to 11:30.
Is it? Okay, that's what I got.
10 o'clock?
Yes.
10 to 11:30.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Rose, thank you again. Appreciate it. Counselor Diamond, item C, Police Commission.
The Police Commission met on September 12th, and if you remember from negotiations, there's now a new position, corporal, and the Police Commission has approved 3 corporals. They're Officer Miserandino, Pacelli, and Cosenza. And Officer Miserandino is the only one so far that's gone to the supervisor's training. They have to go to Roger Williams University, so he's the first one, and the other 2 eventually will also attend.
Okay.
The police department is advertising for a part-time dispatcher. I think you've probably seen that in ads, and they're still looking for one. And the other thing is that the police department is continuing their work on the CLIA project. They have until July of 2023 to have all of their policies updated. And in addition to updating the policies, they also have to be able to provide the proof. Whatever the policy states that they have to do, they have to be able to provide that proof. So they're really busy working on that. That's about it for right now.
Okay, thank you very much.
Can I
It's great to
interject,
see the
Counselor
systems being
Diamond, what was the third name? I don't even want to try the first one. Mr. Andino, Pacelli, and what was the third name?
Cosenza.
Cosenza. Thank you.
Okay. Counselor, the item D, Fire Commission. Felicia?
Yeah, the meeting will be this Thursday, and then later on in the agenda, we have some exciting news to talk about with the replacement of Tower 1, and we'll do that when we get there.
Okay, thank you, sir. Item E, Planning and Zoning Commission.
Next meeting is this Thursday.
Okay. All right. Counselor F, Finance Subcommittee.
The next finance subcommittee is scheduled for next Tuesday, October 11th at 5:30.
Item G, Public Safety Communications Subcommittee.
I have a number of things to report, but the best news of all is that Deputy Chief Lovelace applied for a COPS technology grant, and our town was selected to receive a $750,000 grant, which will offset the cost of the radio system. So we just found that out today, and that's probably
Oh,
the
wow.
best news that I can report.
That's great news.
Well, it's past October 1st too, so the whole bat.
Oh, yeah, well, I was gonna say that later on. The bats are
okay.
leaving.
Oh, okay.
The bats.
Wondering if that was still on schedule.
Oh, yes, they're leaving.
We spoke with the bats to assure this, or?
The radio console was installed today, the new console. They've had a training station. They're gonna start using, once they have all their training, start using the new console. However, they will be, as I said last time, they're still gonna be on the old frequency until we get everything set in the new police station with the state. I want to pass this around so everybody will believe that it's happening, and I want it back though. A picture so you can see that they've actually started building the base for the Tilcon Tower. So I'm going to pass
Oh,
it around so you
good.
can get a good look at it and see just what it takes just to get the base going for the tower. That's in progress. The footings and rebar are installed, and the Homeland Tower, now that the bats have left as of October 1, they all fly away on October 1st. They can start working on the Homeland Tower. And that's my report.
All right, thank you very much.
What's the time frame for
I think
getting those done?
my guess is spring.
Okay.
Spring.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate that report. All right, item H, CIWWA.
Okay, that's the Inland Wetlands Commission, which is now part of my
Oh.
report.
Oh, so I was just trying to text Mike to see what that acronym was, just so you know, so the town knows why I was doing that. So I was like, I don't remember approving that. Okay, that's,
So
thank you.
Inland Wetlands met on September 28th. However, I could not attend the meeting because I was involved in teacher negotiations. I do have a report. The commission approved a deck in addition to one house and a shed that are both within, the reason why they have to approve those, they're within the 100-foot wetlands buffer. The owners get approval as long as they meet wetlands conditions and compliance. And the other important thing is that the Inland Wetlands Commission is still monitoring the culvert removal at the completion of the solar farms. They are really keeping their eye on it. So their next meeting is the end of this month.
Okay, thank you very much, and thanks for letting us know what that acronym was. I was definitely thrown for a loop there. I'm gonna have to ask you to put it in the next meeting.
Want me to write it out for you?
Yeah, yet again, so I don't remember.
You got it.
Eventually, I'll figure it out.
Conservation, inland wetlands, watercourses,
Yeah.
See, this
It
is
might
what we
go
have-
across
this
two
is why we
lines, but
hired
that's okay.
I
Mr.
also
Victor
did the
here.
minutes for
You
that,
notice
so I
why
can send those
skipped that. I
to
just said
you.
Inland Wetlands.
Yeah, thank you for that. Literally, I was trying to get the text and I couldn't get it out in time. Okay, item 8, town manager report.
Thank you, Mayor, Town Council. COVID update. As of October 2nd, the town of North Branford is currently at 19 new cases of laboratory-confirmed COVID-19 in the past 7-day look-back, with a positivity rate of 9.6%. That is up since the last town's council meeting from 5.8%, so there has been an increase. New Haven County remains at the medium or yellow level in the CDC's Community Alert Framework. Permanent Project Building Committee. I attended their September 26th and October 3rd meetings, and the big takeaway points from each of these projects is as follows. With the North Branford High School, last council meeting, committee member David Palumbo reported to you that that the windows were expecting to be installed to enclose the high school around early October, and based on information discussed last night at the committee, it appears that owing to damaged delivery of glass as well as production delays, the target has moved more towards the end of October, and we're still receiving and evaluating data relative to the water infiltration at the high school, but that review should be nearing its completion. For the police department, as I communicated to the council via email last week, or actually it was earlier this week, it all blurs together. We've selected the Archaeological Consulting Services out of Guilford to proceed with our Phase 1 survey. The cost is $8,166.40, which is less than we believe this project might cost. And additionally, they've indicated they'll be able to provide their preliminary report to us, which should be sufficient for SHPO and FEMA needs by October 14th. So the good news here is that the cost is much less than we anticipated, and they'll be done a lot quicker than we originally anticipated. So now we just need to hope there's no findings, and we'll be able to proceed. As soon as we have the results, the council, PPBC, and the police commission will all be notified what those are. NBIS, I'm sorry, is there a question on that?
No, thank you, that's
Okay.
good.
NBIS roof, nothing to report at this time, and Stanley T. Williams roof, this item is likely to come before you at your next council meeting, as we're preparing to make preparations to go out to bid for this. I don't know if there's a member, if we've got any, oh, we got Victor, if there's
Victor,
anything that you want to add to any of those reports?
I was gonna try it. I couldn't. I wasn't gonna come to the meeting, but I jumped in the car at the last meeting. So, just bear with me, I'm gonna give it a shot. The last 2 meetings went well. We have a new structure that was put in place by the new town manager. It works very well. The attorney, Jeff D'Onofrio, gave us directive so we can put everything into line items, ask questions, and the questions have to be answered. So I asked some questions. Water infiltration, requests for, I need my glasses. These are all questions that have to be answered by Gilbane. Request on report for electrical, request on specific locations of affected electrical or water. Electrical boxes infiltrated certain areas, provide documents for measuring. Lightning protection, we found out they installed it wrong. So I dug into it, Al asked me to. We asked a bunch of questions on that, specifically clear up that there's no aluminum called on site. It's visually in the specs. They put aluminum. They used aluminum wire. We don't know who inspected it. Then the beam falling. I asked for all correspondence and all safety applications for the beam. Then the report on the switchgear, it's in rooftop units. We were told that the rooftop units were going to be delivered. Al and Dave told you on November 22nd they would be here. We just found out now that it's looking like December 15th that they're leaving the yard. So the schedule for a meeting that Bruce is not here, but he'll tell you it takes about 4 to 6 weeks just to get the energy management system up and running. Here's the hard part with all this. They're not answering the questions. They're still fighting. It's an ongoing battle. So we rejected ATP 79. We found it in the specs, guide wires. They want to charge us $28,000. They put smokestacks going through for exhaust fans, and the cables are on there, but they don't tell anybody where to tie it in, but it's under methods and means. We showed them that. It's an ongoing battle. What we did was follow protocols from the attorney, and it still ain't working. I asked for certain items on the glass that was broke. I just want the slip that says it was broke. It got shipped back, and they won't even provide it. It's a fight. So I'm going to take a couple weeks of sabbatical, not quitting. I'm going to take off for a couple weeks. I can tell you what's going to happen in November and December. It's going to be a cluster. It's going to be a mess. I can't fight every week. He's doing his job as a new town manager. Mike Fumiani, which is not here, it's the intermediate school at a high rate of speed. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Do I want to take a sabbatical? Health reasons, I can't be there every week. Lou Fonda, I can speak for him, I just talked to him. He's beat up. We're beat. We ask for questions, we don't get it. We follow protocols and procedures given by the town attorney, Jeff D'Onofrio, not the town attorney, I'm sorry. That's right. Jeff D'Onofrio, and we followed him to a T. Mike was there, I raised my hand, I was not out of line, I raised my hand, I asked questions, wrote them down. If we don't get them, I can't help. So as a volunteer, if I can't help, I might as well stay home and spend time with my wife and kids. Guys got to think about it. I told you weren't going to make the deadline. You just reported it, that you're not going to make it. We don't want to get in there. We gave them the extra time. The reason for the information for the beam falling, I asked for specific items. We corrected some of the stuff from the attorney, what I asked for. It got corrected, so we asked for proper information. You guys are the governing body. You might want to look into it. We only could do so much. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Spence?
I was always under the impression as a kid, my father worked on construction, he was a laborer his entire life.
Sorry, I didn't know. Yeah.
My father was a construction laborer his entire life. And they always said to me that the architects control the construction site. And I'm asking, why can't the architects step in and demand answers to the questions that you have? Or can he not stop Gilbane from doing anything until your questions are answered?
He tried it last night. It looked like a steamroller. It's just, it's an ongoing thing. Just you gotta be there to see it. And the town manager, the new town manager, put procedures in order that are very specific, given what we can ask and what we can't. We write it on the agenda now. There's nobody going outside the box, nobody's going, it's legit, it's right here. And the town, the architect agreed on a lot of it. And they're just fighting the answers. The reason why I'm asking for them, they're specific to line items. Once, it's kind of like building a case in construction. Once they give me the details, I can show you if the glass was broke on the delivery. There's a delivery ticket, it's broke. We can't see it. How do we know it is broke? We're getting told in the industry, we're all in the industry, that it might not be broke, it could have not been ordered. There's electrical stuff that was ordered, wasn't ordered. You know, we're catching them on and on and on and on and on. So we're not saying that we don't trust them, just give us the proof. It's a 10-minute thing. Last night they were saying it's gonna take hours and hours. If it takes you hours to find out delivery tickets, OSHA logs that are supposed to be on your sheet, you're in construction, you understand if your file's in construction. These are things readily accessible in the trailer when I walk in. That's the law. We ask for them in writing, we get nothing. We ask the week before, we get nothing. So why are we there? They do what they want, they close up what they want. There's a picture in here that I brought up last night to the town building official. They got a pipe that's not even 6 inches underground. They're running it over with an aerial lift that weighs 50,000 pounds. It's PVC.
And it was supposed to be steel.
Steel. Yeah, it's supposed to be in steel. So I brought it up and he goes, I never even inspected it. I like to see it. So, you know, just things like that. And we're volunteers picking this up. I know it's a moot point on the picture, but you know about construction. You see how shallow that piece of pipe is, and then they're running it over with a machine.
Oh, okay.
So when Franny goes to fix things later or wants to upgrade stuff, you're not gonna get snakes in the pipe. So I was asked to do a job. I'm not taking this sabbatical on purpose, but it's like, it's getting there, you know?
Well, Mr. Mayor, I hate to see our volunteers get beaten up the way they are.
Absolutely.
Maybe it's time to get Gilbane down here in person and say, okay, we've got our volunteers here, they're complaining, they're not getting responses. Where do we go from here? You think?
I mean, I think we have this committee, and they've done a phenomenal job. They continue to do a phenomenal job.
Like
We
they
certainly-
said, he can spend quality time with his family instead
Absolutely.
of.
Is there, guys, is there a, it doesn't sound like it, but is there a game plan in place on how to address this problem? Or you're just basically whatever you're trying is not working?
Mike Downs put it into perspective. He called Jeff Denofrio, they had a meeting. It don't get any clearer than his rules. His rules are perfect. Follow Robert's rules, they're right there. You ask the questions, you get the answers. Am I wrong, Mike?
No, and to add to procedure and a question about, Councilor Mesa's question about the architect role. For the ATP that was denied last night, the procedure would be that if they want to appeal it, so to speak, they would go and go to the architect about it, because they really have to make their case to the architect. And that's really their course. So, I mean, by them sending it back there, it forces them to have that interaction with the architect relative to the interpretation of that ATP and how they read it as to whether it was in spec or not.
Why don't we look to have the architect come to our next meeting to have a conversation?
Sure.
If the chain of command should be through the architect, and I know personally that your organization, your committee has done a phenomenal job and is doing,
I ain't gonna lie to you, we're beat up.
I'm sure, there's
And we're
a
at the
lot of
point where
time, a lot of
everybody
work.
just wants to throw, like, just go for it, and we got out of there with his format last night at 9:30 with a little bit of discussions. But the real discussion is, I ask you a question, here's what I asked you for, you provide it and you give it to us.
Yeah.
I ask it, you provide it, you give it to us, not me, any of the board members.
Mhm.
When you gotta fight for 20 minutes to pull teeth to get it, and then put it to a vote, that's, you know something's wrong there.
Mhm.
Mike, would it make sense to have Attorney D'Onofrio come too if we're gonna have the architect?
We can have him here too, sure.
I would
Yeah.
suggest maybe try it in executive session, so the architect feels comfortable. And
I don't know if
speaks
we have the ability to put that in the executive session.
Kind of a private
Um,
matter.
Can, talk to our
Yeah.
town attorney, is that viable?
I'll confer with Attorney D'Onofrio and see if we can, I mean, there is a way to do it.
Okay. We'll put that on for the next agenda, and if it's viable to put it in executive session, we can do that, I think,
And
for
when I
the
mean I'm
sensitivity
taking
of
a
the
sabbatical,
subject.
I'm gonna be typing the minutes, giving it through the proper channels, they'll put it on the agenda. I'm gonna sit back for a while, instead of trying to engage. So anything that's on the agenda, technically, they should be giving us information for, correct, Mike?
And if I may, one thought on that executive session, under 1-210 of the Connecticut General Statutes, if you're provided with a privileged communication from Attorney D'Onofrio, you can vote to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing the privileged communication,
Okay.
and say who you need for that. So I'll talk to him.
I appreciate
I'm not
that.
gonna-
Maybe to help facilitate that, we could get, through the building committee, a list of all the unanswered questions or items, and have that filtered through Attorney D'Onofrio to, and that could be, would that be considered the privilege?
No, but we'll get you there.
Okay.
We'll get you there.
Right
But
now,
Do you
there's
want me to
no,
forward minutes to anyone?
I think it would be helpful if we had a list of some of, if not all of the stuff that Victor's referring to, so that we're not just sitting in a meeting just trying to tell the architect that we're not getting what we want. It'd be nice to have
Does
some.
Jeff
some
have that?
meat and potatoes.
yeah, he does. Okay. So the last 2 weeks since he's taken over, everything's listed. Everything is, the way he's got it set up, and excuse me, the town manager has it set up, every single thing is in the packet now. It can't get any easier than this. It's like kindergarten could pick this up. Here it is, these are the questions, where's the answers? There's no harm done right now if the financial body steps in and puts them into check. You know, when you get there and everybody, and I was fighting for the glass last night, and it was just a ticket, I just wanted to see the broken glass ticket. When something's damaged, you send it back, you get a pink ticket or yellow ticket that says it's damaged. I just wanted to know to get a time frame. They say, you know, it takes 8 weeks, so from that time frame, we'll get on. I can't get a trucking ticket, it's supposed to be in the file, it's an argument. When you argue with me, it's kind of telling me you don't have a ticket. Kind of know you don't have a ticket, actually. So, you know, does that, you know, we just need a little help. We're a little beat up, and we don't want the school to go downhill. They're fixing all the problems. We brought in the third party with the council's blessing, but there was double the amount of work and double the amount of water that was found. That's a lot. So if you guys didn't do your job by giving us the money for the third party and allowing it, just think of what the school would look like. So, let me
My
know.
concern is, we see what happened with MAS.
Right.
We want this to be done right the first time.
Of course.
And not have the other town council sitting here 10 years from now,
It's a good idea to get it
bonding
straightened out with everybody.
$10 or $15 million to fix the new high school that should take $60 million.
Correct.
That's the intention of
That's
having this
been our
committee. Absolutely, that's why there's
Just the best thing that-
such attention to detail.
Mike,
Yeah.
can you just explain ATP, what ATP is?
Actually,
It-
everybody
so,
be
here-
better come from him, actually.
I bought one in because I knew you were gonna ask.
Well, I mean,
No,
you know,
I
it's
know you and
good.
Jeff want to know with an ATP, so it's a billing, it's a change order.
Okay.
So they want $27,000 that's on the print to run guide wires. Because they said that when they vetted it out, either one of the contractors had it, but it's the same contractor that didn't have it. So if I install pipes through a roof, I have to support it by code. And we gave them the Article 110, it was 1.18-10, that's pretty bad when you actually know the code.
D.
D, and we read it off, I don't know if you still have it on your,
I have it in minutes, if you'd like me to read it.
and if she reads it to you, if you got a second, let her read it to you, it takes 2 seconds.
Yeah.
It tells you they own it. They own it. They want to charge us 27,000. Then they said, we're going to take it out of our contingency, so I kind of said, time out. You mean the town's contingency that you have? It's our money if we don't approve it. You know, we shouldn't be fighting with this. Give us the answers, fight it out later.
Yeah, so what we need to do is get the right chain of command involved. Let's have Attorney D'Onofrio in, let's have Rusty in as the architect. And if you'll let me know, Rich. if
Yeah,
you
I'll
can
talk-
bring it
I'll
into
talk to Jeff.
executive. If we can't go to executive session, we'll do it in regular session, we'll have a conversation in that capacity. But I'd rather be able to have a more banter section and then we can come out of it.
There is a method to get us into executive session.
Okay, great.
Well, Vic, I just want to say this, we're fortunate to have you and the other members that have construction knowledge to look after our interests, and I think we have to support you guys and bring the parties down here.
Absolutely.
The mayor and the town council to say, okay, you don't want to shuffle off the Buffalo explanation, we have to get this done the right way.
I appreciate what you just said, but we're all a team, we're all family. It's a town, it's the town's money. And I'm watching something go sideways, and it's kind of sad, so it's personal for me. I did it for 2 reasons, obviously some of the council members, but my daughter wrote an extensive letter that got an award, said how deplorable the school was before she left for Syracuse. So I'm putting my heart and soul in it, because she asked. And if she reads the minutes from it, it states in there, just from that ATP, that's a change, that's a monster change order. That has no bearing on what we're doing, because it's supposed to be under contract. That's only one. One of hundreds of them that we get. We're already on ATP 90. Some of them are 250,000, 160,000, and you gotta vet those out. And they don't take 5 minutes, you know? So if you can work that out for us, that'll be great. It also gives us a leg up on Gilbane to slow them down and follow procedures and protocols.
That's what we need, that's what you guys do.
Yep. We're gonna bring that into session, and we'll look at that next meeting.
It's vague, right?
Mike, do you have these?
I got him.
Okay, we'll have them for reference. Victor, thank you very much.
Thanks,
for
guys. Have a good
coming in
night.
tonight.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Okay,
I do have just one more item
Please.
to report, Mr. Mayor, and that's staff news. I wanted to share with everyone the bittersweet news that our own Roger Solway will be retiring. His last day with us is Friday, October 14th. Roger decided it was time to make more time for his family, and we certainly support him in that decision. And while we'll miss Roger, I'm thrilled for him and his family and the adventures that await them. As you know, Roger's done a terrific job as North Branford's Economic Development Director and has moved a number of essential projects forward, and his contributions will have a long-lasting impact on this town for a long time. We know he won't be a stranger. He's very interested in the North Branford Land Conservation Trust he's come to love so much, so we'll know that he'll be around, but just know that you'll all join me in thanking him for his service to the town and wishing him well on his well-earned retirement.
thank you. Mike, I echo that with the committee, that we certainly appreciate Roger's efforts here in North Branford, and we look forward to seeing him in the future, but applaud him for his retirement, and he enjoys it, and thank him for his time here.
Thank you. That concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. All right, so on to item 9, community events and presentations.
Mr. Mayor, if I can, I'll be extremely brief.
Please.
I didn't have a lot of forethought to put this in ahead of time, but I thought about it today because something else came up. But just a quick notification on Sunday, the 23rd of this month, from 1 to 3 at the Auger Field and the dog park, there'll be a celebration of life for Dr. Efren Osorio, who sadly passed away. He's a veterinarian from North Branford Veterinary Associates. So it'll be a celebration of life at the Auger Field. There'll be some food trucks there, and we've been working with Jess on setting this up, and the official, I think, like, dedication of the dog park in his name. He was an amazing guy. I know we used him. He was our favorite doctor, and he also did a lot for the PD and the canines in town and stuff like that, volunteering time and stuff. So just wanted to make it aware to everybody. Sunday the 23rd, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. At the Auger Field and the dog park celebration of life for Dr. Efrain Osorio.
Did you say
Thank you,
there's a
Counselor.
dog race?
What's that?
Did you say there's a dog race?
There's no betting, Vin, no. No.
Talk reason.
Just wondering, Plainfield is long gone.
Okay. Thank you very much, Counselor. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
We certainly miss him in this town. I think it's wonderful that we're doing that event for him. Okay, I'm going to move on to, unless there's anything else, I'm going to move on to item 10, citizen statements and petitions and correspondence. I'm going to read a prepared statement from Bill Savastano. Everyone, folks know Mr. Savastano here in town. He had asked me to read this. So, in the words of Mr. Savastano, tax freeze for seniors. Can we figure out who are the most vulnerable seniors and put a freeze on their taxes going forward? We all know what's going on out there, the cost of inflation. They need a break. ARPA funds, I haven't heard you talk of ARPA funds unless you're doing it during finance subcommittee meetings. There are no agendas posted, no spots on the minute side of the website. Couldn't some of these funds be used for some of the new spending? New spending is over and above the 6 major bonding items. What about using some of the funds, some of the monies for correcting any flooding areas around town? As I see it, shouldn't be spent on sewers. And that's exclamation points 3 times. PBVC meetings, with all the activities and concerns going on in the PBVC meetings, should be live, then on YouTube. And I apologize, I have a very poor copy here, so I'm trying to read through this. It's got to be helpful. Tax assessment letter, last February, Dave Ambrose brought forward new assessments for our vehicles and how we had a windfall. There was a promise to send a letter with the tax bills in July. It never came. Is it still coming? Are the assessments going to come down when everything settles down? Bonding for 5 major projects. Anthony gave us a figure of about $700 tax increase, about 10% on home that is worth $350,000 approximately. This was 1.5 years ago, before new totals and cost of inflation. And that's in brackets. Do you need new numbers now with all additional spending and costs? Thank you, Mike and the council, for your time. Mr. Bill Savastano. All right, so Mr. Savastano, thank you for your statements, and we entered within the copies, so they're part of this meeting. And we'll certainly look towards answering some of those questions as we move along the lines here. Okay, are there any other citizen statements? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move on to item 11, resignations and appointments. I do not believe we have any at this time. So move to item 12, unfinished business, discussion, action. Item A, update to replacement of Tower 1.
All right,
Counselor,
so,
please,
thank you very much.
by all means.
So, Mark did an incredible job presenting last meeting, and really appreciate it. Appreciate the other members that were here as well and chimed in and gave their perspective. I think it was very helpful for a lot of the council members up here. After the meeting, Rose spoke to Anthony, and then Rose and I also spoke as well, and we came up with an idea of how to pay for Tower 1, and this is it. So the purchase price was, we're basing it on the 1.6 million. We allocated $350,000 for the fire equipment reserve initially. We're also proposing to take $250,000 from ARPA funds to get the purchase price of the vehicle down to about $1 million, do a lease purchase over 5 years on the 1 million. The leasing cost estimated $150,000 over 5 years at 5%. 5% is a little bit on the high side. Would give us an annual lease payment of $230,000 a year to be covered with money under the current CIP budget, which would not have an effect on the mill rate. It would be a way of avoiding a mill rate increase because of the vehicle. The two good points with that is that engine 3 was paid off this year, so that lease payment's no longer on the books. And our final lease payment for the ambulance is next year. So we've carried lease payments in that category for substantially more than $230,000 a year. So I think it's a good plan. We spoke about it. I know the mayor has also had conversations with Anthony as well. And with that being said, I would like to therefore go ahead and make a motion that the council act on the purchase of a new Tower 1 using the plan that I just set forth. And that's it, based on the $1.6 million purchase price.
Is that the spec one?
Correct.
Correct, that was one that Anthony, or, I'm sorry.
I second that motion. I second.
All right, motion by Counselor Pledge, second by Counselor Mace. Do we have any discussion?
I certainly agree, and I think it's great that we've come up with a way to do this. I think it's important.
I also agree. I think these apparatus are necessary, and we're going to eventually have to replace them, and doing them in due time and trying to space them out makes a lot of sense, particularly as this particular apparatus is going to become more expensive. I applaud our fire department. Chief Trudeau, thank you for your efforts. Your presentation was spot on last week, and the folks in the commission, thank you for your time as well. It's very much appreciated. It's important work that you're doing to make sure this town's continually safe. And as you heard from the Permanent Project Building Committee, we're building a pretty large school, and it's going to be 3 stories and a roof, and we'll make sure we protect that investment as well. So thank you. All right, so that being said, we have a motion and a second.
I just want to say
please,
one
yes.
quick thing.
Please.
Okay, so
Thanks, you, sir.
we have not, once this vote gets taken, is at that point is when Anthony will have to go out and get the actual lease payments and the finance. These are just estimated numbers, but based on our estimation, our annual lease payment for the 5 years should be less than $250,000, and that's what we were striving for, is to be less than $250,000. So we don't have an exact number yet, just so that no one quotes that. We do have to go out, and Anthony will have to come back with those exact numbers. But what Ron was, Councilor Police was referring to is, over the past several years, we have built into our budget CIP money that we spend every year, and it's somewhere between $1.1 and $1.2 million, and that's usually used on capital improvement things, and we put into departments where they have lease payments, where we have gotten new CIP, new equipment, Public Works, the fire department, could be Parks and Recs on major items. So with that money that's already in our budget, and because it's in our budget, it would not be any increase to our mill rate to finance this
Correct.
Tower truck, because we already have the money in, it's just the use of that money. So as long as we keep that amount of money in our budget every year, we're able to do things like this to keep moving forward.
And it's the purpose of those buddies.
And so we've been very, this council and the councils in the past, once we got it into our budget, we've been very conservative, and we really look at that not to cut that money, because anytime you cut that money, when we have to put the money back in, that's when you'll get a mill rate increase. So we try to keep it there. And we know it's going to be some tough years coming up, and I myself, and I know my fellow council members are happy to be able to find a way to do this and to get Tower 1, to get a new Tower 1 in here. now.
Yep, absolutely.
And with it being a spec, we cut our lead time down by a year, according to the information that we are given. So hopefully within the next 12 to 14 months, we will have a new Tower 1. And we will be selling our existing Tower 1. We are not keeping the existing Tower 1. So,
Correct.
right, Mr. Z?
Thank you.
Deputy Mayor
Took
Zampano?
the words right out of my mouth.
Any other discussion before we move to a vote? Seeing one, Michelle, I'd like to move to a roll call vote.
Roll call vote. Okay. Mayor McMillan,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Zampano,
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni,
Yes.
Counselor Diamond,
Yes.
Counselor Gold,
Yes.
Counselor Mace.
Yes.
Counselor Palladino,
Yes.
and Counselor Felicia.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, and we appreciate you. That is come to a close, and you'll be getting a new Tower 1 soon.
Mr. Mayor, just one quick last thing.
Please.
I'd also like to thank the members of the fire department. I'd like to thank the commissioners. There's been a lot of phone calls back and forth, a lot of working and you know, trying to get everybody on the same page. And I appreciate everybody's commitment and cooperation in this matter. And I know you guys have asked for this for a long time. And I'm just really happy that the town is able to do it now for you guys. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And on the flip side of that, the commission would like to thank you guys for your continued support. I mean, over the last 2 years, you've given us basically everything we asked for. You know, so as far as service to the citizens, I mean, you know, it's been a serious upgrade.
Yep.
So, I mean, you know, you thanking us, well, we also have to thank you, because you guys have been more than supportive towards us.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, we're going to move on to next item of unfinished business, which is the Auger House use agreement.
This one-page document.
It's been a fun one.
I'm pleased to report my colleague Brian Leclerc is handling this matter. Make sure you tell him I said
His ears are ringing right now, trust me.
It's bizarre, and that's all I can say. He made relatively modest comments trying to get it in shape, sent it back to council for the board, and it has not come back. So that's where it is. We have no response at this time. And I'm blaming him.
So we will keep it as is for now.
don't want it then, right?
Apparently.
Well, they're certainly using it.
They're using it, from what I understand.
Yes. So-
Okay, so we'll revisit that if we need to put a little pressure on that. We can.
I thought they
Yes.
said that they sent it back.
I thought it was
They
sent back.
did.
Well, they did, and there were further comments that had to be made. There's you can't make this up. There's a requirement in there, for example, that every town employee who enters would have had to have a full background check.
All right.
Yeah, exactly.
fingerprinted at our
Yeah,
expense.
At your expense. So what, the flip side on that, as I understand from my colleague, Mr. Leclerc, was, okay, if we have to enter to do work, then you exit. Take the kids and get out of there, rather than having us do that, so we can maintain the building.
Yes.
Right,
We're
otherwise
waiting-
we're doing a full background check
Other-
on everybody who works in Public Works.
Everyone. And
Yeah.
this little one page, okay, so that's,
that makes no sense.
that's the sticking point right now. And that's where we are, and that's what we're waiting on. You know, I could have done
I think they
100-page
need some of that to be
document in less time.
communicated to them. I don't think that they realize.
Mike,
about-
can you reach out to Scott? and
Yeah.
just-
Yeah, okay.
Let's have him come in for the next meeting, and let's get this finished. So let's try to get this finished over the next couple of weeks beforehand, and if we can come to an agreement, we'll settle it by next week, or in 2 weeks.
So
2 weeks from
basically,
now?
this really isn't working out, right?
Well, I mean, right now, the premise of this is to have an agreement, but it's the utilization of it is taking place regardless. So we want to make sure that we get this addressed right away. 'Cause otherwise, there's no purpose in having this user agreement in place. So let's work on
Unless they're using.
coming to an agreement over the next 2 weeks, and if not, we'll bring it in front of the council and ask for the superintendent to come in and talk to us.
Yeah, well, I'll reach out directly to him.
I appreciate that, thank you. Okay, moving on.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like
Yes,
to
ma'am.
make a motion to amend the agenda.
Yes, please.
To add item 14A. It's executive session to discuss item 13A, the appointment of the new town planner.
Would it be 14A underneath citizen statements and petitions? Or should
Yeah,
we-
because there's a 15, so we need, there's 14 and then 15, so I just added 14A,
Okay. Executive session.
executive session.
Okay. Okay, that works. 14A. All right.
Second.
Second? Okay, we have a motion by Counselor Angeloni. I believe there was a second by Counselor Diamond prior to the,
I think,
Yes, I
I think
did.
she, I
Okay.
think she
Oh, I
was
missed
sleeping
that.
over there.
okay, so we go second by Counselor Diamond.
Was I that was this one?
We gotta play this fair.
When in doubt,
Gotta
go with
play this
Diamond.
fair.
That's right.
All right, any discussion?
Yeah, so we're
Diamonds are
suspending
opposed.
13A to talk
Well, we're
about
just-
executive.
We're gonna
session.
skip over it to go into it, just so we can have a conversation
Just wanna
about
make
it,
sure.
being that it's doing to do
And
with
we'll come back to
personnel.
13A
Yeah.
after executive
But
session.
it's due to personnel. Okay. Okay, we have a second. Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? Okay, that passes. All right, on to 13, new business discussion and action. The confirmation of planning and I'm sorry, skipping A and moving to B, award of bid RFQ/B number 5, 2021-2022 website and design, an exciting one.
Yes.
That we've been trying to get off of our agenda.
Yeah,
for
right.
some time.
So-
Please, share with us.
Thank you. So, any of us who were on the council in the last 3 years have suffered long and hard through some presentations about websites.
Some of us through it.
But central to our plan here of recasting our whole digital storefront is a new website with increased user design functionality, increased intuitive access for important resources and information for residents, taxpayers, businesses, including an attractive design that properly showcases the town. And Anthony Esposito is here in his IT capacity, and Dennis Bonone and I have reviewed the bids and discussed at length the cost and benefits. Is he not here? He's not here. Oh, he's not. Okay, so I guess it's all up to me. So, you have the supporting documentation, I believe, in your packets, but we've chosen Civic Plus as the vendor to recommend to you tonight. And I won't be bringing up Anthony because he's not here. So,
Mike, is there a town that uses them that we could look at? I just would be curious to see what it looks like. Is there a town that we could go on?
yes.
I think there's quite a few towns.
So
that use that.
they were one of the vendors that did,
Presentation.
of all of them, they did a presentation. They were one of the ones who had one of the most, the healthiest list of Connecticut municipalities that they actually service.
After a while,
Yeah, and I think Madison might,
Yeah,
but I don't want to
Madison.
misspeak, but Madison is one,
Do you
East
remember the
Haven
one we
might be
liked?
I
another
liked
one.
Madison, yeah, that's.
So it's the one we were looking at. I
Right.
remember.
But I'd be happy to send you a link with, a more comprehensive list of some of the ones you could take a look at.
I
that-
would like to.
Yeah, that show what they do, but they look pretty good.
Do we want to bring him in, have him do another presentation?
No,
Yeah.
Ron.
I'm kidding, I'm kidding.
I'm
Hold on,
happy to
Ron,
reach
Ron.
out to,
So I know there's some departments that have their own websites, like the library and Park and Rec.
Mhm.
Are they redoing theirs, or is this just
so
the town's website?
it's going to be the towns, but we're definitely going to have to discuss some of the elements of that, where Park and Rec kind of have their freestanding one. The police sort of does too, but we're going to have to start rolling those into what we have for branding, for symmetry, for
Any reasons?
ease of communication. Right, it's all going to need to be centralized at some point.
But initially,
Initially, we'll probably
the bulk is the town's
yeah,
website.
it's initially we're getting off the ground with just the town services ones. Yeah,
Okay.
Then we'll standardize,
yeah,
which makes sense.
Okay.
It doesn't seem so disjointed.
right.
Okay.
So I'd like to make a motion
Thank you.
that the North Branford Town Council finally awards RFQ number 5, 2021-22 to Civic Plus pursuant to their submission to the aforementioned RFQP, contingent on the town attorney's review of their contract. Their cost in year 1 is $14,748, and $5,888 annually in years 2 through 5.
Second.
Okay, motion by Counselor Angeloni, second by Deputy Mayor Zampano. I do have, for discussion, I do have a question. Did they indicate how long it would take for the initial iteration of the website?
Glad you asked. So I have been hard charging and saying that I wanted to try to do this before Christmas. That's probably unrealistic, unfortunately, but it's early springtime is probably when we'll be able to unveil
Okay.
this.
Mr. Mayor, that was my question. Do we have a drop dead date in here? Or does the price change if we go into the spring? Because we're now 7 months into the future, and with cost of increases and everything else.
I think it's probably there, we
yeah.
want it done sooner.
I-
It's how
I
long
know
they
that,
take.
right.
It's
to
a
get
cost
it
for the
done.
job, it's not
It's
a per
It's
hour.
a cost for the,
Yeah,
yeah,
the
it's a
job,
set fee.
yeah.
And when we award it, we'll get a date set for them to complete it by. But that hasn't been established, and for us to, I could get it done, I was told I could get it done earlier, but it would cost more, and it doesn't really make sense to me to do that because, you know,
Yeah.
we're just talking about a couple of months here, so.
Spring, I think spring is still good.
Spring is,
That's still good.
spring's good time.
You'll
Yeah.
report back to us and your your town manager report. Just give us the heads up.
And I would add a couple other things. One is, we're going to also launch northbranfordct.gov with
Yes.
this website. Anyone that goes to the old URL will be redirected to the new location, so we won't lose anybody who is accustomed to going to the current site. But the standard, usually, especially when you're communicating with the federal government, they really want you to have a .gov locale. And it's a little backwater to not have one. So we're going to be doing that when we launch the new site as well.
Makes sense. Okay, any other discussion?
I'd like to thank Mike for getting it done.
Yeah,
Yes,
thank you very
likewise.
much.
Thanks a lot,
You're
Mike.
welcome, thank you.
Hitting the ground running, bud.
That's good.
That's right.
Knock these things off the list. Okay, any other discussion? Seeing none, bring this to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, on to item 14, citizen statements and petition. Are there any? Seeing none, we're going to move into 14A, executive session to discuss confirmation planning and zoning administrator and town planner. In that executive session, we'll have town attorney Viturla, town manager Michael Downs. I believe that is, of course, the council. Anyone else necessary for that? All right, I don't believe so. So at this time, we're going to ask those folks that are not on that list to vacate the premises. We thank you for being here tonight, and we will look forward to seeing you in the near future. Thank you.
5-minute bio?
Yeah, 5-minute bio.